If you're struggling to get your foot in the door of a new career, you're not alone. You're not crazy. You are not alone. This is happening at unprecedented scale, but you don't just have to take my word for it. There's a new study from the Swiss portal jobs.ch. And in this study, they looked at 7.3 million job ads. And what they found is absolutely shocking. It's absolutely staggering. I can't believe people are not talking about this. This is the complete collapse of the next generation of workers. It's absolutely crazy. They found that entry-level junior roles advertised in Switzerland, this is Switzerland, but it scales out, was 32% lower in 2025 than 2019 and 2022. Basically, the pre-AI average. The pre-AI average was 32% higher. The jobs are not there for entry-level workers. And quite frankly, this is one of the cleanest data points we have yet seen when it comes to the hiring effects that we're seeing with AI. This AI impact is landing the hardest at the bottom rung of the level, of the job ladder, and not at the top, which I think is really interesting. And we'll cover that in just a moment. The reality is that here's the problem. Entry-level workers are book smart, but not street smarts. There are some key components to success that you don't have when you're at the beginning of your career. And again, I'm gonna cover that a little bit today and maybe a couple tips, the way that I would handle it if I was starting my career over, if I was fresh out of college, fresh out of high school, trying to get my foot in the door, trying to figure things out. I'll give you some tips on how I would handle that. And by the way, if you're new here, fresh videos 6 days a week. And if you have a great comment and you leave it below, I will pin it. I have pinned the hottest comments in the past, and I will continue to do that, because the reality, guys, is that this movement, this channel is really about one thing. It's helping you survive and thrive in this AI revolution. We are going through an AI revolution right now, and it comes down to us humans to take care of each other, right? Anyway, this survey also highlighted another really, really shocking point, and it's that certain roles are even more susceptible to this AI replacement. In this study, they found that marketing, administration, finance, and IT were especially hit hard by this AI adoption. And that, I think, does kind of mirror what we've been seeing in India. We've been seeing kind of a collapse of Indian IT right now, and we've covered that. I think that's a really fascinating topic to cover, because India has been such a kind of a crucial point of offshoring for a lot of major companies. And the reality is that companies are not hiring over there anymore because we're using AI and AI agents to fill in those gaps. But here's a twist. Senior positions are actually up. So while the bottom level, the entry level, the junior positions are completely tanking, we're actually seeing an uptick in the amount of options for senior roles. They found that the offers for senior positions rose 26% in these AI exposed roles in 2025 versus the 4 years before 2023. So junior roles way down, advanced roles way up. And why is this? Well, it's because when you combine AI output with an expert filter, you're able to separate the wheat from the chaff. You're able to separate the good from the bad, because the problem that a junior employee is going to have is that they might have book smarts, but they don't have street smarts. It's like listen, I'll give you a perfect example. When I was in school, I took Spanish, 10 years of Spanish. I was taking Spanish through elementary, through middle, through high school. I could barely speak any Spanish. I had some book smarts, but I didn't have any street smarts. Then I went, after I graduated from high school, I was working in a restaurant. God bless me, I was not my funnest position. Shout out to all the people that work in restaurants. That is a tough job. Anyway, I was working in a restaurant, working in the kitchen. Within 3 weeks, I was hablo español, boys. I was speaking Spanish. Pass me the pollo. You know what I'm saying? In any event, what I had was, in school, I had these book smarts, but it didn't really translate. I actually needed to get in the field and get some experience before I could get it done. And I think this is, by the way, why a lot of people go into politics, because they haven't actually ever done anything. They just like to talk about what could be. The execution matters. Anyway, regardless, if you're getting your foot in the door, the problem that you have is that you don't have proof. You haven't actually gone through the challenges. You haven't seen things face up. And if you're an expert in the field, if you've been in a field for a while, you've probably gone through some crap. You've probably weathered a few storms. You've probably seen things go wrong. And that type of expertise is incredibly valuable when combined with AI. But here's where things get a little bit tricky, because if you're at the bottom rung of your career ladder, that means you're younger, you're probably more tech savvy, you've probably been using AI to write all of your book reports through college and whatnot, which, by the way, you should not do. Writing helps you learn how to think. At any event, if you're younger, you're probably more tech savvy. If you're older, you have more experience, but not as much tech savvy. So the real key here, guys, is gonna be the older, more experienced, more wise people that are using AI are about to completely explode productivity, And you're just gonna be able to make such a huge impact. I mean, just the other day, guys, I mean, it's absolutely unprecedented. Just the other day, I built out an entire funnel using Claude Cowork. I had Claude Cowork analyze all my top videos, all my top lessons and learnings, and I just prompted it. It did that. I said, okay, make me out a funnel so I can bring people into my YouTube consulting and coaching program. And I'll put a link to it down below. So if you want to kind of go through it and see what that funnel looks like, you can. Guys, AI built this entire thing. I built this entire thing in about 15 minutes, about 15 minutes of manual time. I had to insert a couple simple details, but Claude Cowork did the whole thing for me. And that's where you combine your expertise with the AI. That's where things really, really happen. And because, by the way, I know there's a lot of guys out there that are AI doomers. And I just want to tackle this for a moment, because I think what people are missing is this part about having an expert human filtering the data. And there may be a day where AI is just so good, you just believe and trust everything it says. But bro, there is no AI expert out there that's just gonna be like, whatever AI tells you is good, just go with it. It doesn't exist, because AI just can sometimes spit out the most ridiculous nonsense. And by the way, I was watching Tim Pool's podcast the other day. I like Tim, I like that show. And he was talking about how AI is going to ruin the entire economy. No one's going to be able to get jobs. No one's going to have money to buy anything. Everything is going to be completely ruined because AI is going to just wipe out all white collar work in the next couple of years. And I was like, okay, that's a take. But then 5 minutes later, he said that AI is such a mess and that all the results he gets from AI are unusable and that he doesn't trust anything it says. And I'm like, bro, you 2 minutes ago, you said that it's the end of all white collar work because of how effective it is. And now you're saying that it gives you a bunch of bull. So you can't have it both ways. And I think, like in most cases, the truth is going to be somewhere in the middle, okay? You're going to have humans using AI to become extra productive, but putting it through that filter, that God-given brain that you have to filter the good from the bad. Because the reality is, at this point, being proficient in AI prompting and context is really, really important. And then combining it with critical thinking to remove the good from the bad is kind of the inflection point. And I do want to highlight, and I've mentioned this before, the great American author Stephen King once said that great writing is writing something, deleting half, and then deleting half again. And I think that's kind of where my head is at when it comes to AI. I want to use AI to write and go from a blank page to a fully filled out funnel, landing page, form, blog, email, whatever I wanted to do. I'm in marketing, so that's how I think. Add copy, write it all up for me, and then I will go in and I'm going to delete half of it, I'm going to delete half of it again, or I'm going to reprompt it, I'm going to make adjustments. Same thing with building and designing apps and websites, okay? Anyway, I digress. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, but this is kind of what I've been thinking about. And that's the optimistic side. And quite frankly, that's how I'm approaching the AI revolution, right? I want to approach the AI revolution. But getting back to our original point here about what's going to happen with these kids at the entry level of their career, guys, you really got to focus on three things: relationships, execution, and receipts. You've got to get your foot in the door. You've got to start solving problems. You've got to, and by the way, AI should be fundamental. That is what every single organization is looking for right now. They're looking at, can you come in and use AI to get work done more effectively? I've talked about this a few times. I want to highlight it again. I'll post a link to the video here, guys, because just a couple weeks ago, there was a company that accidentally spent $500 million on tokens because they didn't know what the hell they were doing. Do you think that you could maybe go in there and maybe help solve that problem? Is that a big or a small problem? That is a huge problem, guys. And if you are AI proficient and you can bring that in and you can show receipts and you can build relationships while you're getting the opportunity, guys, that is big time. That is big time. And, you know, I think this is the way that things have been basically for all of time. You know, history tends to rhyme. And it's always been hard to get your foot in the door. But you've got to work. You've got to get, you know, maybe you work for free or for an internship, or you take a reduced wage just to get the relationships, the execution, and the receipts, the proof of what you can accomplish. Because once you combine that with your AI expertise, there's gonna be opportunities. I'm telling you. I'm absolutely telling you. Because again, if you don't have the receipts, if you don't have the expertise, it's really tough. In fact, your fear is not unwarranted. There's an a survey of 3,600 workers, and 41% of workers under 25 said they are worried about becoming less valuable in a post-AI workforce. Very valid concern. A lot of you guys are concerned. I'm concerned for my kids. I think it's a valid fear. According to another survey by Oliver Wyman, global survey, 43% of CEOs plan to reduce junior roles over the next 2 years. Guys, that is up double. That's up from 17% last year. So you're gonna have less shots on goal. That's the time period we're in. But if you can put your foot out there, if you can make some relationships, if you can just get a shot, again, maybe even working for free for 3 months, and then work hard, that is gonna be your opportunity. And because here's the deal, guys, nothing is set in stone. I mean, a few weeks we covered a story where Zuckerberg admitted a mistake in firing too many people in this AI shift. I'll post a link to the video here. I thought it was very, very interesting. There's a lot of CEOs out there, there's a lot of companies that have gone through big firings and then taken a step back and say, oops, we went too far too fast. We got to shift back, okay? And though that opens up the doors. And you know, while you might be young, while you might not have the relationships, the experience, the hard work, get your foot in the door and work your ass off. Work your ass off. And this is what I tell my kids when they're out trying out for a baseball team, who's going to get the job? The kid who's best at the position, right? And you might not always be the biggest, you might not always be the fastest, you might not have the most experience, but what you can do is you can grind. Be the first to practice. Don't be last off the bench. Get in front of the coach. Show them you're coachable. People like that. I want to work, you know who I don't want to work with? I don't want to work with a guy who just does the bare minimum, doesn't show up to meetings. I send him a message, he messaged me back 3, 4, 5, 6 days later, like, be on it. And I know, I don't want to be preachy. I just want to kind of say, like, this is how I would approach it if I was at the entry level of my career. And being at the point of my career where I've been in marketing for about 30 years now, got a YouTube channel that's reaching hundreds of thousands of people, and I love you all. I'm part of a SaaS organization that's been growing consistently over the past several months. We just hit 4 million ARR. I'm getting opportunities to do videography work with some of the largest real estate investors in my area. Like, I've got a lot of cool stuff happening. But what I know fundamentally is that the relationships, the receipts, and the AI being at the center is absolutely crucial. So that's what I would preach. Boys, I appreciate you being here. If you take anything away from this video, it's don't be last. Don't be last, all right? That's what I tell the boys on the baseball team, don't be last. Don't be last. Get out there, make it happen, execute, be positive, and I'm telling you the opportunities will come. You know, as they say in the great Batman movie, it's always darkest before the dawn. So get out there and hustle, all right? Boys, thanks for watching the video. If you liked today's video, check out yesterday's video. It's a little bit less optimistic. We talk about how Oracle is just purging roles at their company. But again, where there's loss, there is gain. All right, so go check it out. I'll see you in that video. Peace.